I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and with me today is a special guest from Portugal, the 2023 Mind Sports Olympiad gold medalist and Portuguese Azul and Carcassonne master, Guilherme Neves, also known with his screen name Glovier. Hi, Guilherme.
Hello, Alexei. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here again. Lovely to be here as always.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here because I'm gonna need you for this match and for the next match for a variety of reasons. Not just for a usual Carcassonne expertise, but also for your expertise in the tournament situation in this particular group that we're watching. So we're in
Yeah,
round 4 of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships, and we'll be covering 2 Group C matches today. So this is the penultimate round, so we're nearing the decisive events, and you can see all the teams on the screen. So we'll be watching Thailand against Romania for now. So the teams in number 1 and number 3rd spot, and they're playing, but note that Portugal is currently also here. So Guilherme has not only knowledge but also vested interest into the outcome of today's match. Now, Thailand so far is undefeated with 3 out of 3, despite being the least experienced team in the entire group. If you just look at solely the number of years playing the game, and Ukraine's the highest rated team, but they have already lost to Taiwan. Ukraine, Romania with 2 wins, Mexico, Portugal with 1, Lithuania currently 0. So if Thailand wins today, they're pretty much guaranteeing the qualification. And I think even with the first, if from the first spot of the group, even if they were to lose the last match. Now, if they lose today, then it becomes a bit more interesting because Romania is going to have 3 wins. Thailand's going to have 3 wins. If Ukraine wins against Mexico tonight, Ukraine's also going to have 3 wins. So it could be a bit of a tighter situation. Or if Thailand wins today and goes to 4 victories, then maybe Portugal wins against Lithuania tomorrow and gets to 2. And maybe Mexico wins against Ukraine tonight, and then we're going to have 4 teams with 2 victories but with different tiebreakers. So there are a lot of interesting events. But from a Portuguese standpoint, Guilherme, which
hmm
of these situations would actually benefit your team? A big fight for first place in the group or a big fight for second place in the group?
From our POV, it's definitely a big fight for second place because for 2 reasons. One is the top 2 teams currently, which are Thailand and Ukraine, have amazing tie breaks in terms of games won, games lost. So we definitely don't want to be messing or facing them in the terms of tiebreak. So ideally for Portugal, we always need to win, obviously, but today specifically, Mexico barely wins against Ukraine would be great, and Thailand winning against Romania would also be great. And then we would also need in the next week for Thailand to win against Mexico and Lithuania to win against Ukraine. And if everything happens like I said, we barely get second without needing any tie breaks because we would be the only team with only 1 loss, or actually 2 losses, and everybody would have 3, except Thailand, which would be undefeated. So this is like the irrelevant tiebreak path, which is not likely. Needing tiebreaks, it's much more, it's a mess, basically.
Yeah, if I just look
We
at the
would need,
tournament situation, this group is going to get decided by tie breaks. I'm not sure who, I'm not sure how, but they're so close. It's honestly there probably be like multiple teams with 2 victories. Well, there's still 2 games, of course, for Portugal or for anybody else to just try and win big, win not 3-2 but 4-1 or 5-0, and then try to score those precious tiebreak points. Because we got to remember, one of the reasons why Portugal has this low tiebreak is because they were losses. As soon as you get a victory, any victory, then your tiebreak immediately improves. And actually, since you're hoping for Thailand's win, I think you're in luck, Guillermo, because despite Romania being the more experienced team with 2 world champions on their lineup, then if we go to the lineups, then we actually see that I think Thailand is a slight favorite here. So first of all, I'm going to ask you, have you played against many of the Thai players? I assume you've played Bakshay, their captain and their strongest player. Have you played anybody else there?
uh, Not from the top of my head, I don't think so. I definitely played Pakshe, obviously, but the other players I'm not so familiar with,
So the other
except my teammates who
players.
played against them.
Oh yeah, that too as well. But like the other players, interestingly, they are really not that far behind. So Pakshe had done an excellent job training up a team of experts, and some of them are rated in the upper 600s. You can see all the ratings on the screen. At least our viewers will be able to see the rating on the screen. So I would assess this that Paksha is definitely a big favorite against Michne Nicolescu on table 1, even though he's the remaining captain. Just the experience in terms of games of Paksha is absolutely immeasurable. On table 2, the 2019 world champion should be the favorite against Shaolin 053. On table 3, there's a newer Romanian player with screen name Inicole, which is a big thing because in Romania they don't really change players very often, but Gun 7 should be significantly outrating them and be a slight favorite there. On table 4, I'd say Arpad Ger with the screen name Girap as the 2022 world champion should be the favorite against Lizzy Tech, just because of their sheer experience, but rating-wise, they're not far behind, so maybe only a 60% favorite for Arpad. And on table 5, which is going to be, I think, the table where the duel is decided, Natpira going to play against Geo 100, and Natpira has Geo outrated there. So I would assess that Thailand maybe has a 55%, 60% to win this match, something like this. So Romania definitely going to need to deliver with their 2 world champions, and then try to score a minor upset on one with the 3 remaining players. This also brings me to a question which we haven't discussed before. Whom do you want to follow? Which duel are you most excited? The highest rated players or the closest duel?
That question, I think the closest duel, maybe. I think I agree with your analysis. I think it will be decided on table 5. So we could
Alrighty.
watch we could watch table 5 for the first game, maybe. See how things get a feel for the probably maybe
Alrighty.
decider duel.
Let's see if we backed the right horse. And I have opened the game. Nat Peter is playing the red meeples. Geo is playing the green. Nat Peter is the first to score 4 points. Is going to have the starting player advantage. But Geo, with the first monastery of the game, leaves a road open behind, but Nat Peter cannot pick it up with a city tile. They're now going to be continuing their monastery. I mean, Geo's monastery, because there's no good place to put this tile. They'll be starting a new city, but Geo will be taking advantage from controlling all this space. In the meantime, hi Daniel, hi Ruben, hi Ian. Make sure, of course, to meeple the like button for the algorithm. And a second monastery for Geo. That's a wonderful start. Natpira picking up all those city caps. Geo with a city cap of his own, and now it's an interesting decision. I mean, he could just go here, drop a farmer, for example. That's interesting. He could make simply the highest scoring move on the board, taking the 4-point road and leaving the city cap open, given that Natpira has already the open city caps, or he could have just calmly started a city somewhere else on the board. So, Guillermo, do you like leaving the city cap open for the sake of the road, or would you have gone for the early farmer, perhaps?
I like thinking controls the road. The city cap open is a bit unfortunate, but Napiro already has 2 open cities, so maybe you can snatch that if they are a bit, so you have a bit of fear of getting them in tough situations. The field is big. The field's gonna play a big role in this game, I feel like. There is no way around it. It's very dominant. Already touches 4 cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
and Geo
Oh.
meeples the farm with uh
Oh,
with a very,
that's a
very
lot of
generous style, but it sort of works out for him because
it.
Natpira kind of builds around his monastery now. He successfully connects to that city. The downside, of course, is that the space of the field is significantly restricted, but as you said, Guillermo, 1, 2, 3, even if this here city does not get completed, there are going to be more green squares to develop in the future simply because there are no good places to build other cities on the board. Now, Geo needs to find his strongest move, which I don't think was this. It wasn't this. Geo. Not knowing that the vulnerable square is here and that Pira now comes with a block. There are
Definitely.
only 2 tiles that fit into the square. And the delay of these monasteries is really strategically significant. You really want to get that meeple back as soon as possible because as you said, Guillermo, since the field is going to be important for this game, you kind of want to get the meeple back from the monasteries to fight for the fields eventually, because I feel like if you go for an imbalance and just try to forego the fields and score for the monasteries, score other points, it might not quite be just enough to prevail in this game. Some third monastery for Geo on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Now probably going to be
Maybe
trying
Jew
to...
is hoping to. Yeah. Maybe Jew is just hoping to get all the monasteries.
Yeah,
It's
honestly,
it's
this
always
is
an
the real
idea.
strategy. This move by Geo, though, I do not get. I mean, I actually do get it's kind of trying to block this city at the bottom. I think it's not the right city to block. Honestly, as Geo, I wouldn't really be worried about blocking. I would just build up my monastery as soon as possible.
Exactly.
And the thing with the monastery here, like, you gotta fill in this square as soon as possible, because if your plan, as Guillermo you were saying, is to draw all the monasteries, then you gotta prepare the next monastery as soon as possible, which means getting a curve here, getting something like a crossroads here, and preparing a 5-pointer or even a 6-pointer to meeple with your last meeple. In the meantime, this idea to block the city does make sense, and it will cause some pain for our Thai fans. But for the moment, there's still 3 tiles that fit into the square. Upon grabbing this meeple... but hear this out. If this tile is drawn, if the horse tile is drawn that fits here, then Geo can actually get another city tile and then block even this meeple. But then, on the other hand, his field does not survive. This is getting pretty interesting. In the meantime, Geo is trying to block the monasteries. And so Matt Pira trying to block the monasteries. Geo cannot defend. The best he can do is just simply score 2 points, drop the city cap in his field. Feels like an insta move. And then we pray that we don't lose the meeples, although we probably will. Or
Yeah, you said something interesting about the. Sorry. You said something interesting about the city situation. Because if Nigeria gets the horse tile, indeed Geo could block, but then the field which we were suspecting would grow to like 4 cities suddenly becomes 2 or even 1 in that scenario. So I don't think that would be bad for Nigeria if that were to happen. Of course it didn't. Geo bailed out the city and his roads, but
yeah,
then
that's very
got himself
interesting.
blocked.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you, like, he got blocked himself earlier when misprioritizing. So this
Yeah.
tile, of course, here needed to cover the vulnerable square first. But props for Natpira for creating the threat over here and making Geo choose, and Geo chose wrongly. In the meantime, Geo was finishing the city, probably trying to get some meeples back and also trying to pressure the square. And actually, it worked out horribly for them because Natpira got himself a defense tile. So that's why, with moments like this, it's actually better to not even try and block and just wait. Geo is again making quite a serious mistake here, I have to say. So
Yeah.
first of all, I mean, many issues. Remember I told you earlier, by the way, with this curve over here, he should have filled in the square first so that he can stack the monasteries. Instead, now monasteries are disconnected. They're still good, but they're going to take twice as long to complete. He's now finishing a city outside of his field. This curve is limiting the potential of his field. His meeple is now trapped for 6 points. Natpira picking up the empty city cap. Geo with a curve needs to make something happen ASAP. Trying to go over here, trying to get some green square. This is exactly what he does. He creates a threat over here, but Natpira parries by taking 4 points, slightly restricting his city, but it's a small price to pay. Geo placing the tile in the only legal placement, Natpira developing his city, which is not going to be blocked. Not only is it a viable ruin, there's actually a pretty reasonable chance of it getting completed, and with a meeple minority, it will be very difficult for Geo to attack. But Geo still has the 4 monasteries and some potential on this main field. So question to you, Guillermo, for now, like the position as it is now, we can see Geo with the city cap here. Who would you prefer to play? Do you prefer to have green with all the monasteries already drawn, or 4 monasteries already drawn, or Natpira with the meeple advantage and scoreboard lead?
In this game, not Pira. The monasteries are great, yeah, but I don't see the field having huge potential, and that Pure City becoming a ruin just makes everything harder because we can't really attack it as Geo, and that Pure can just grow it boundlessly and or even complete it in the most extreme scenarios. And also that Pure can create counter fields at top, for example, causing his 3-point city, making 8-point city, drop a farmer, still has green spaces. There are even scenarios in which that top field unites with the bottom if there is a ring road. So having a meeple majority in these games feels a great thing to have, and I don't. It's still too early for the monasteries to be decisive, I feel. So if I had to choose, Natpir would be my choice.
Yeah, and definitely Napier would be my choice when it comes to the skill level. So we do see that the rating does make a difference. I feel like Napier is being a bit more precise here. Although we do have a comment in the chat why Red did not just meeple the road. I presume this road over here. And I have to agree with that comment because this road is 4 points. And most importantly, this road it just serves some defensive purposes. It makes sure that Geo with one of the horse tiles cannot score easy 5 points for road over here, whilst also posing danger to Natpira's city. So I feel like it was indeed a bit of a miss. Geo now getting a city meeple back. He's now about to get blocked. A very nice sequence here from Natpira, first restricting the monastery, which was a bit risky with one dagger still remaining, but it ended up working out for them. And Geo now has run out of meeples. He chooses not to finish the 5th monastery. Natpira now finishes the 5-point road regardless. He's probably going to have his city blocked, or maybe not. Hey, check this out, Guillermo. How about Red draws a Dorito and a triple city tile, and instead of completing this little city, just tries to develop a huge ruin over here? Or if this doesn't work out, with back-to-back extenders, this guy on the left can exercise some crawling technique and eat up this city.
Geo blocks that final selection of ours.
Yeah, and that was quite wise. This move serves multiple purposes, also kind of blocks the city. The city is now permanently blocked. The 3rd dagger was just drawn. Natpir chooses not to continue his city because there's no point in trying to complete it. Instead, he simply covers up his cities with 2 Doritos and 1 splitter tile remaining. There is an 88% chance of him getting 10 points and a meeple back. In the meantime, another city threatening here. Also, an interesting point that you mentioned about a counter field. So we can see that Geo is trying to limit that field for the future so that when, and actually if, Natpira completes the city, then he's only going to take a 6-point farm over here. The Thai player with a cow tile and really no good places to use it. Maybe here to try and limit connection options for this ruin, or yeah, just this. Continue the city on the left. Also wisely setting up another horse tile so that he could take 2 points for the road and 2 points for the city at the same time. Geo with a divider, and you mentioned about this field being stifled by this move mainly earlier, and this is a disaster for the field player. Like whenever you get a divider and you can't drop it in your field, this means that the other side has basically, well, not won, but gained a major strategic advantage. I mean, Geo can still do this. That actually would be a very smart move with still 3 vanilla city caps remaining to go over here and finish his monastery with tempo. But the problem with that move is that it would be creating a counter field. It was still the best move, but Geo does not want to go for it. Natpira now is going to start a counter field on the left, or maybe he could go fancy, go for a 3-point road, and then finish the road and drop the counter field. So, Guillermo, do you prefer to go with the farmer straight away or be more aggressive and go for the road first and try to drop the farmer later?
I like the road idea. The problem is there aren't many. No, the road is. I like the road because it's a 6-point field, but Geo placed the splitter on the right, and like that's also probably 6-point field. When that period completes his bottom city would be also like a 3, maybe 6-point field. So, and this allowed that period to get the road with some tempo, and the field must be pulled anyway. So I like the road to play. I think it was the best move there.
Yeah, and actually the road is 5
the field
points
has so
anyway.
many. Yeah, and on the field is so many green squares. It's quite good for Natpira.
Yeah, this is very often how it's the case with those field games, that the secondary field is actually better than the primary fields of green. And that Pira does cash on his 12-point city due to the shield, 20-point ahead of the scoreboard, and the 6th monastery from
The
Geo.
sixth monastery.
So the question is, we are behind. Do we meeple it with our last meeple? And he goes for it.
Yeah.
Yes. There we go. I mean, he's going to get tons of monastery points and he completes immediately. That's a huge draw for Geo. He can also... We can quibble about the orientation of the city cap. I do like his choice to take advantage of the extra points once the city is completed. Nat Pira takes another 6-point field. Oh, that is huge.
Yeah.
Is he thinking about the ruin first?
You might, because the 6-point field, how would Geo get it? It would need me a straight line or a city tile, right? So if you take the city, maybe you can get the 6-point field later with some tempo. I think that was an idea. Because that 6-point field is not accessible except through a city tile with
Or
a field
straight line, though.
side as well, or a straight line, yeah. But that really
Yeah.
goes for the field, which is also respectable. It's not bad at all.
I mean, it's simply more points. I don't think it's about the issue is just protecting the field. The issue is simply trying to get points. Yeah, Geo with some unfortunate draws. So Nat Peter actually got 2 city tiles that would freed up Geo's monastery meeple. I feel like he needs to get something like a splitter ASAP and even go straight on this 9-point farm. It honestly wouldn't even be crazy to just go here and like drop a farmer straight away. We would be sacrificing 4 potential points from this city, but giving away this farm would suck so bad. Or maybe we block at the top, but just don't meeple. Oh man, don't meeple the city cap in these situations. It's like it's such a standard tactic. Well, at least at a master level. I'm not sure how it's as a expert level. So Nat Pier is gonna not meeple the field just yet. Somehow the adventure of Geo is gonna work out. He's gonna get 4 points. Nat Pira is gonna get a city cap of his own and meeple yet another field. That is huge. And Geo with a scoring tile, but only 2 points. That's not enough. That's not enough. Not enough.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we use our 7.5 minutes on the clock. First of all, we count up the points. And we realize that I don't think that green is like that far behind because the 4 monasteries are scoring 31 points at the moment. Natpira has loads of fields though, and the 20-point scoreboard lead, and the ruin at the bottom, and the ruin at the top.
Yeah, and yeah, it's time to count up the points, count up the pieces remaining, because it's still possible for Geo to complete his monastery, close the city, drop a farmer there, and then do something else. But
yeah.
what something else would that be? Maybe attacking the joint ruins? Is that possible? I don't think.
Yeah, there's not enough. I mean, there's a road Dorito available for the connection, but what do you use as the invasion tile? And that ruin's not that big anyway. I mean, it is 8 points.
And I don't think there is a real Dorito either, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No real Dorito, so.
Wait, what am I missing? What am I missing?
There are like 3 in the diagonal, and then there is 1 on the bottom right city, and then there was on the top.
And?
So it's 3, right? So it's 5.
Wait, what am I missing? I'm circling the Doritos right now. Oh,
you're missing the
here.
One next to the... Yeah.
Yeah, it's always with the counting thing, like whenever there are 2 nearby, it's just...
Yeah, that's so close.
Yeah, I feel like Gio, in order to have... Yeah, he just takes 2 points. That makes sense. He wants to be as efficient as possible, still save the meeple for something else. And Natpira now, yeah, lovely, lovely move.
Oh, and just in time.
And I was actually thinking from Gio, was it crazy to go here and drop a farmer himself, protecting the square and also taking the road away from Natpira. Then he would have completed this, because from Gio's perspective, we know that Natpira has plenty of blocking tiles. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that was the idea for Gio. Because this splitter, I think it was maybe the only tile that fits there. Ah, and this big piece as well.
Yeah, but still, you
But
want
the
to hope for
splitter
the
is the most
splitter in any
relevant for the
case.
field.
You want to
Yeah,
hope for the
exactly.
splitter. Yeah. Well, let's see if this would have worked. So let's say, had he gone over here, Natpira would have only been able to score 5 points for the road instead of 6 points for the field, because we would have denied him this option, right? Let's try. So -1. We would have scored 2 points less because we would have sacrificed this road here. We would have gotten 1 point for the monastery extra. We would have gotten a 9-point field instead of a 6-point field, and instead of a 3-point field at the top. So that is
field.
+6. What else we would have gotten? Oh, and then we would still have a meeple to spend on our last move to... Yeah, we would actually still be able to meeple the 3-point field.
The triple. Yeah.
So, the final verdict is Natpira -1. We would have had 9 points more, which would not have been enough. Still was probably a worthy try regardless. Yeah, and Gio, I felt this is one of those instances where he actually drew the winning tiles, but ended up losing them. And so this monastery cluster at the start, it is extremely powerful, but the thing with these monasteries, they only work in the hands of somebody who knows how to use them, because these subtle decisions, really the move that lost Gio the game was just losing these monastery meeples, not protecting the square instead of trying to share the city here a little bit too early, even though that wasn't a big risk at all. And that's what put him at a meeple disadvantage, and that's what ended up keeping him with a small field. And Natpira just stayed out of trouble, kept scoring, and we actually saw something incredible happen. The Thai player withstood the draw of 6 monasteries from his opponent, and won with 20 points. 5 of these monasteries were even meepled. So Gio could end up in the weekly curiosities.
Yeah. Draw 6 monasteries, but unfortunately couldn't take the most out of them. Especially that cluster, as you mentioned, it, the misprioritization there. And also the early farmer could have some potential, but we are playing monasteries, and then we get monasteries, and then we think, oh, why did I play that farmer? I really wish to have an extra meeple in my hand now.
I mean, in Gio's defense, Guillermo, the farmer was kind of your idea.
The farmer was good. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't, but in hindsight, it's so...
I know, but it's all like, I do like the farmer. I think the farmer is not the issue. It's just like, for example, there were just ways of developing this farm. There was one move with the dagger where
the dagger move, yeah,
if you
where
remember,
it could have been placed on the field and then extended also in green spaces, but
basically just a little guide for our viewers. There's a standard tactic in monastery buildup. When you're short on meeples, if you have 1 or 2 meeples, then instead of starting a new city next to your monastery like this, facing upwards, it's actually to just drop the city cap. Imagine this is your monastery meeple here. I'm great at drawing. It's better to just drop the city cap sideways, so that later when you or your opponent picks it up for 4 points, your monastery gets an extra point and the meeple is more safe and so on. And everything's on your field as well. Because sometimes if you do build upwards, and then when you finish the city at the top, this square, which used to finish your city, is going to create a pressure point against your monastery, which is especially felt if the monastery is also part of the field, because you lose the meeple and you also lose green squares, and this is exactly what we saw happen. So yeah, this game is difficult. And so now what do we make of this position here? So Natpira is the starting player again. They're ahead on the scoreboard, 6 points. Gio has just a city here on the right. Slightly vulnerable cities for red. Yeah, no compensation really here for Gio. Also, this move here always comes with a meeple. Like this meeple here never really gets blocked. So this is a really nice move if you meeple it as green, because the point is you meeple this and then you build up your city like this around red's road, not allowing red's road to develop. Now it looks like it's restricting red's road, but you know, you're not going to go here and you're not going to go here, you're not going to finish that block. What's going to happen in all likelihood is that this guy's going to wait here for a while, and then he's going to get something like one of the 3 horse tiles, go here, finish the road, start the city, take advantage of that empty piece. Gio, though,
exactly. Yeah, I was agreeing with the move must be with a meeple on the city. Otherwise, it's basically a gift of the city when eventually Napira gets a road and city tile.
Yeah. Oh, but look at this now. Both players are pretty aggressive now. So I see you don't seem to be a huge fan of this. First of all, not Peter with this vulnerable meeple over here. And now Gio with this vulnerable meeple over here, instead of sacrificing 1 point for a safer monastery at the bottom. What do you make of these two moves? Both players seem to be not caring too much about their meeple safety, but is there merit in that?
I mean, 6-point monastery is a 6-point monastery, but there were other spaces for it. I don't think it was needed to be exactly there. And as for Natpira, it was it's better construction of the city, but like Geo can also just meeple the city, maybe block reds from entering it, and then the situation's a bit net loss. So I think I would have preferred to build a city on a safer square if I were not Pira. And Geo's monastery, I don't think it's terrible, but you must be ready to lose 2 meeples for 1. I think that's the price to pay.
Yeah, but then also if you're gonna do this, you have to follow it up with a move like this, because like this is still like this is not bad. You have an 8-point meeple, so you have 11 points for 2 meeples versus 2 points for 1 meeple. That's like 9 points investment for a meeple. That's about the minimum as it gets. Also slight imprecision here on Peter, perhaps. Yeah, Geo really, but you see he has to go here because there's still 3 horses. And if 1 horse is drawn, then that Pira can go over here and open up the development of this here square as a ruin, possibly even outscoring both of these. But Geo cannot do this, because now they have other objectives. They now need to keep abusing these here cities, and they really need straight lines. I know this is not the tile, this is not the favorite tile of most players, but actually Geo should be absolutely begging for straight lines, or at least for road tiles. It's actually a great tile here. We can go like this, we can set up another blocking square, but covering up the development of the ruin is one of his first priorities. But so is trying to block these bottom meeples. Geo catching up on the scoreboard. Not Pura choosing to sacrifice a monastery. Now they're getting themselves another city, and now Geo is going to attack both of them at the bottom. I'm pretty sure he's going to find that move. But I love these blocky positions. Oh, by the way, do you play? Oh no, man.
Oh, really?
Well, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's just not the right.
Not as strong as it could have been.
Yeah. Of course, you want to attack 2 meeples instead of attacking 1, and this is decent. This is decent. Don't get me wrong. But like the starting tile is actually perfect for blocking, because if you go and block from the bottom, you've already drawn one of the tiles that your opponent would need to complete his city after a block. And also, if you play against both cities, your opponent cannot defend, so you have to place a tile here ASAP, and that was the best one for show. In the meantime, Geo dodges one of the horse tiles. Now, of course, we're not going to go over here. This is where our opponent wants to go, but he can't really do that much either. Yeah, that makes sense. He's trying to sort of do a bit of something, try to put some pressure, but it's not that strong. Not Pira now with an interesting choice. He could start a 3rd vulnerable city. No, he chooses against it. Instead, he just makes his city a bit safer, makes it very easy to invade, which Geo now is going to do, but at the very least, he's not going to do a meeple. This guy is still vulnerable 2 tile that fit into this square. Not Pira with the monastery. No strong spot, although going here for 5 points, it's actually not crazy, because so many road tiles, road plus city tiles have gone out, that it is quite unlikely that Geo would be able to draw something for an immediate block. On the other hand, you do want to save a meeple in case you lose this one. So do you prefer to just discard the monastery here, Guillermo, or go here for 5 points, controlling some squares and trying to just draw one quick straight line for a cover-up?
I think I like the monastery. I want to meeple the monastery in this position because I look at this and see what other features do I have. There is like a 9-point field there, but like the only one who can really grab it is Geo unless Natura wants to give the city to them. We have a road, we have a city. I don't think we have that big feature. Like so I think the monastery there just makes Geo react to it. Maybe if they need to get the perfect tile, they separately defend to a roaded monastery, and that's still okay for us as red, so I would go for it.
And he go for it. That's an excellent move. It's very difficult psychologically to pull a trigger on a move that gets you blocked in one move. But hey, Geo doesn't block, and now Natpira can easily defend either directly like this, placing a curve over here, or probably safer just going over here, pre-building a road, giving himself a monastery spot, giving himself a chance to draw one of the 4 remaining curves over here. Also, the position of this, okay, this is also okay, but it's not as strong. Geo now draws one of the outs for Natpira city over here, so now only one tile remaining that fit into the square. Also wanted to know that this monastery controls a road end, which is awesome because we can go here, take 2 points for a road, and then use this here platform in the future to further abuse the vulnerable green meeple. But before Geo decides where to place the city cap, which is probably actually going to be over here and starting a new city perhaps, as weird as it seems, but I do think it is his strongest move. There's one important feature in the position. Okay, fine, but I would have meepled it. And that Pierre now probably gonna go with the first farmer. Yeah, finishes the city, gets the scoreboard, leads. Geo now with a blocking move here perhaps, or the blocking move here. Yeah, you really wanna do something. But before Geo makes a decision, there's one important feature in the position that I want to talk about. So Guillermo, you and I, we criticized this move a little bit, but not because this move is bad. It's a good move. It's just it felt like there were more important things at that moment. But the reason why it is a good move is that because it sets
because
up
of the field.
Yeah, it sets up exactly. You're seeing this, Guillermo, right? Because this field is completely closed. And the only way to meeple this 12-point field is to actually complete the city of Geo and drop a farmer over here. Or, as Natpira, drop a 0-point farmer here in advance.
Not yet. They want to block it.
Yeah, that's
but
fair
if they fail
enough.
to block it, if they fail to do so, maybe drop a 0-point farmer is the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Although I feel like if Geo gets the defend, then they're dropping the farmer. Like, they have to realize how important this field is spatially. But it's very interesting geometry here that the highest feature on the board at the moment, well, if we don't disregard this shared city, is not accessible for either of the players. So this here dagger tile, of which there's still 2 remaining, is an absolute ticking time bomb. Natpira with a monastery. And I also want to point out something early. You see, Natpira placed this tile over here. If only they had gone over here, then they would have prepared a second monastery and they could have easily gone over here for stacking. Now it was no longer possible for them, and Geo now is thinking, he doesn't drop anything. I don't like it. I mean, at least, like, go for a road. Ideally, actually, go for the road and the field. Because
just get it all, but something should have been put,
Yeah. Because, like, the thing is, as Geo, you know how crucial this tile is. Like, you have to go for it. 75% is a good enough chance. There are 20 tiles remaining. You have 3 meeples left. What are you going to use them for? I guess a monastery perhaps here wouldn't be that bad. But at this point, I feel that there could be bigger fish to fry. For example, there is a road monastery spot. Also, this here move, it's actually pretty sneaky, this whole blocking attempt, because it indirectly expands the field of red. Currently sitting at 6 points, but once this dagger tile is used over here, then all these green squares, including this new one with the city cap of Natpira, is going to be part of the field. And now the field here is almost just as good as the 12-point field over here. So Geo with a splitter tile, are we going to see a meeple on something, like maybe here, for example? Certainly feels like we want to be dropping things. We want to be dropping things. Minus 12 on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Maybe a farmer right next to Red City,
I'm
just in
thinking,
anticipation that we
yeah.
get the dagger.
It's
And
also a
we
nice
really don't want to
obstructing move
give a
as
9-point
well.
field.
And
Yeah,
even
and
if we
also
don't get
that.
the dagger, we can connect here with the Road Monastery or something.
Exactly. Or if we don't connect, I mean, our field would have more potential than Red's field. Would have 3 open caps, whereas Red only has
Yeah.
0. So maybe that's the way to go. But of course, necessarily, we don't get the dagger, and I think we need the dagger anyway, so. But I think the
Yeah.
farmer is warranted in this situation.
Yeah, the thing with the dagger, like, so basically
Absolutely.
we got to decide. So we got to think a bit more strategically. So do we need the dagger in order to win? And if we decide that we can still win without the dagger, then I think we can play like Geo made the moves. A bit more flexible, meeple the monastery here, and oh man, man, man,
Ooh,
man, man, man. I think it's just simply lack of knowledge of tactics, because there is just zero,
and
there's just no point in meepling that city cap. It's really,
exactly.
like, there's so many city caps open, and it's not like Red is going to meeple that city cap anyway, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's, and you see already Netpira immediately takes advantage. He takes the curve, connects all the field, and now is enjoying a 12-pointer over here. And it's one strategic mistake just like that. But
Yeah. I
minus.
just added
Mhm.
so much more potential to Red's field. That move had to be with a farmer. But nothing has been done about the middle field of 9 points, maybe 12. So if Gio just playing for that, it's still a possibility.
Yeah, but like if you are playing for this, then you, well, actually, there's also Road Monitor that goes here and unites all the fields, which probably benefits Netpira over Geo, because of this here situation earlier, Geo was at a meeple disadvantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, this kind of goes back to the strategic choice. Like, Geo is playing as if he can win without the dagger. So this monastery right here, example for 5 points, it's sort of kind of okay, but it's just trying to be flexible. If you're gonna hope for the dagger, then you have to double down. You have to go here, you have to equalize the road, you have to go here and drop the farmer in advance, and then you have to probably forego the monastery. I can't believe I'm saying this, just to keep the meeples for a field fight. So very often it
I
makes
agree.
sense to think strategically in terms of tiles that you need to win rather than points that you need to score. And then if you have identified a key tile without which you absolutely can win, you just double that, you will double down and triple down on that tile setup. So Guillermo, what do you do with this Dorito tile as Geo? Do you want to go straight for the field attack like this with your last meeple at the risk of not being able to finish a 12-point farm, or do we just continue the city and try to finish it later and drop a farmer later?
Tough call. Maybe just continuing the city. I don't think we can drop the farmer, especially if we get the dagger. It's just devastating getting the dagger without the meeple in hand. So I think Gio needs to preserve the meeple. And it's either that or just get one monastery point, but is there a
Hmm.
world in which they get the monastery meeple back and then maybe attack the field?
Yeah, because if,
Because we
if we're
talked
going,
sooner about he used the meeple on the monastery, now he kind of needs the meeple in hand to attack the field, so maybe it's not the craziest idea to try to complete that monastery.
nice idea. And that Piri just keeps scoring. He draws one of the two key daggers.
One of the
But it's certainly a
daggers.
very, yeah, and Geo gets bailed up with, it's a
Okay, yeah.
huge draw. Huge draw. I mean, ideally it would have been a vanilla city cap, but still that is sort of kind of okay for him. So he's gonna still fight for the main field, which is worth already 18 points with 6 completed cities. Not Piro though. Now we need to decide: do we take 4 points here? Do we take 4 points here? Oh, oh!
Oh, wow.
That's an interesting
Didn't see
shift.
this one coming.
Well, what do you make of it? I
Okay.
mean, there are still 3 tiles to connect and try to win like a
It was.
gigantic city.
I mean, I think there was no need for this. I mean, maybe just closing the city at the top and defending the field was fine, but I mean, 3,000 is good. How many Doritos were left, actually? That's also important here.
So 4 from his perspective. So I mean, this is definitely
Four
a
is good.
spectacular. This is a spectacular move, right? And it's really really good chances to actually complete that city and not even join only as a ruin. And Geo now connects to the field, which makes sense. But then I felt like he needs to address that ruin threat ASAP at some point. Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, because you know what? The reason why it's sort of kind of dangerous because one of the triple city tile type has gone out, so it is possible to block
Hmm.
this with just a couple straight lines, really, making sure that the cow tile, which is no longer existent, is the only tile that fits here. And now Natpira covers up an invasion square Geo with an important draw. With 3 points and also a setup to permanently block this square, will Natpira be able to defend? Geo only 8 points behind on the scoreboard. Natpira with the road monastery, he'd love to go here, and he might still do it. Oh, snap!
Ah, that's a nice find.
Yeah, that is awesome. A 6 point farmer with 2 connection spots over here. An instant find by the Thai player. Just beautiful board vision here. This beats Monastery very, very easily. 18 points for the
Yeah.
field is absolutely worth the investment of a meeple. Geo now in dire straits. Well, he does
Hmm.
get the curve for this square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I believe they're Oh no, there's still one more. So there's one more curve available, but there's still this other options where straight lines can still fit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are no straight lines, but still, this is just very, very difficult to deal with.
But actually, I don't think there are any curves left. I think this is the last one.
Really?
5,
I see 8. I don't
6,
know.
7, 8, 9. No, no. I think that's was the last one, Alexei.
No.
Oh, what? Well,
Yeah. Well, you know what else was the last
that really
one?
got enough.
This dagger. This has to be so
Yeah,
painful. Like he's not gonna complete his city. Well, gee. Oh, come on, man. This was
really.
such an easy block. This was such an easy block. Like,
That's just giving it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, at
He
least the
got the
50
tile, but
50.
still. But still.
Man, you still gotta protect over here. Yeah, very interesting
Yeah.
idea here from that pure to get this extra threat, kind of just forcing Geo to play in both parts of the board, and with this invasion here, just absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So the Portuguese player
Yeah.
will be winning.
Yeah, not pure just kind of overwhelmed you at the end by making a threat on the city, making a threat on the field, and then getting both daggers was also huge. Because maybe if, I mean, if Gio had got a dagger,
Maybe,
maybe
yeah.
that's maybe because this
Actually, yeah,
11
defo.
points. That's 11 points is definitely
But you see, the thing is, if Geo gets the dagger, and this was the whole point of the setup, because it gives you a greater variety for game deciding tiles. Let's say Geo goes over here and cashes on his dagger setup with this 12-point field and everything. Then, if Natpira doesn't pull the dagger, then the likelihood of Geo losing this big city also increases. Because, like, Natpura is going to win something, either the dagger, or the first triple city, or the second triple city, or the quadruple city, or the curve here to connect, which was still available here. So the whole point of Red was just trying to create threats everywhere, making it so that pretty much every remaining tile in the deck is good for him. So whilst the game looks close, and it was close, the position was just very, very difficult for Geo to deal with.
yeah, exactly. Not pure played well by giving himself as many outs as possible. So that city attack was really nice actually.
Yeah. All
Really
right.
nice find.
So solid performance there. Thailand's now ahead 2-0 as Gano 7-1 against Nikola, and I feel like the only reasonable way for Romania to come back, well, first of all, they now need to win all the three
Everything.
deciders, and now the team captain needs to take themselves the role of trying to defeat Bakshay, who is playing the decider on table 1. So I suggest we have a look at that, perhaps?
Okay, I agree. Let's do it.
Michnes outrated over 20 or over 200 rating points and losing 3 monasteries. Yikes! Oh man, what a tough position to start with. Really through no fault of his own. Well,
there is that nice city. And maybe they blocked the monasteries from completion, so despite this looking quite scary, maybe stuff works out.
Actually, I really like this move by Michnia because it's annoying to deal with. If he gets some city tiles, he traps these 3 meeples, then he can exploit his long-term meeple advantage and so on and so on. In the meantime, Bakshay just draws all the city caps that Michnia needs to this square. Now, only a vanilla city cap is needed here, but also pretty much a vanilla city cap is needed here as well. And now Michnia cannot finish his city at the top without making his bottom city vulnerable, but a huge draw for Michnia, who's going to be able to block 3 monasteries. That's an excellent blocking sequence, as now it is a game. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still an amazing position for Red, with all of these 24 points, what they're going to score towards the end, and now the scoreboard lead still for Bakshay as he completes the road. Also makes this meeple here slightly vulnerable. Michnia finishes the city, although I think he should have started yet a 3rd one, try to put some more pressure on Bakshay, which would not have worked, so never mind me. Bakshay finishes an 8-point city, he's now 22 against 10. Michnia with a splitter tile needs to find some love from the deck. Ooh, so Guillermo, do you want to just like finish the city at the top and hope that we don't get blocked? Because with another city tile, the blocking chances are actually pretty low. And then we can like try go here, then we try to get a Dorito, try to get an extender, and try to build a bigger city like this for 24 points, which could take a long time, but in probabilities wise, it's pretty decent. Or do we do something like this and start a new field and try to exploit our meeple advantage?
I also kind of like the complete the city idea, because are we really expecting to wait to get the 2 tiles we need before, or actually either the extender or the vertical splitter before completing the city? And if we turn the splitters to the left and meeple the city, I mean, the best Bakshay could do would like give us a point and maybe block, but I like the idea of closing the city.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, so you said the idea, like, if we do this, they give us a point. Then maybe they might get a starting tile and, like, finish the city for us. In which case, we get a meeple back. We have this 1 blocked ruin for, what, 8 points? Well, our opponent has 3 blocked monasteries. And then after this, we can really go towards our field idea. Because this farmer idea is pretty nice, but you typically want to exploit your long-term meeple advantage, but then there isn't necessarily a long-term meeple advantage, because let's look at this. So Bakshay has 3 blocked meeples. And Michnia has 0 block meeples, but he has 2 frozen meeples. And then in that sense, his meeple advantage is not felt that strongly, although this is a very nice tile for him. Bakshay starts a new city. Michnia now with a chance to add more cities to his field. This is now turning around in the Romanians' favor. Only -8 on the scoreboard. Bakshay. Ooh, Guillermo, do you want to continue the city here? Or do you want to go here straight away and try to start some magic on these here squares?
Yeah, I think I would go for the magic. It feels annoying. And playing annoyingly is also quite a good way to play, I feel like.
Yeah, like if you don't know a move,
grabbing the open cap.
If you don't know a move, a good heuristic to think is like, would I like this thing done to me? And if the answer is no, you should absolutely do it. So it's kind of like the opposite of how it is in real life. Michnia now defends well, not defends, but invades Bakshe's city, which is much needed, being down 13 points on the scoreboard. Also, finally, some love from the deck for Mr. Nicolescu, as the 6-point monastery, an excellent monastery with high chances of completion, has been meeple in the deck. Players exchange quick points. The shared city has been completed. In the meantime, hi Played Mac, hi Luis, hi P Mika. Bakshe with a farmer for 6 points. And look at this, he's pre-building a 6-point city, banking on the fact that if Michnia completes the city, then Bakshe is going to have a blocking platform against these two meeples. What do you make of this move, Guillermo? Do you like the creativity, or would you have gone for something more traditional with your scoreboard lead?
I like the creativity. It's just a nice find. So much tempo is gained by basically preventing Mihian to use that city space effectively, and then but then the problem is Bakshi used this style to do it. And now,
exactly.
Now it's not as good.
Yeah, exactly. The move was good, but the follow-up not so much. Because like this city side is actually not great to have. And the point of this move, it now unfroze Michnia's city, who by the way could have considered dropping a farmer here, but that's okay. There's still going to be other field invasion platforms here, 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 here. Just farmers really everywhere in this game. And what do you do if you Bakshe? I mean, do you just do this and try to get a Dorito and just connect your cities? Or do you try to do something crazy like this and try to draw a starting tile before your opponent draws vanilla, which would be even crazier? Or do you try to go for some indirect defense, taking advantage of the fact that many crossroads have gone out?
Yeah, I like the indirect defense. Because it still has outs to expand Bakshi's field at top if he doesn't connect to the bottom, and leaving more options to annoy the Mihan city, I think is best in this scenario. But still, that unfreezing Mihan city was a big deal. Because now the Meeple majority is reversed.
Indeed, and only a 7-point difference on the scoreboard, and now the field can really become something. Bakshe will, with a great spatial move, trying. Oh, that's so smart from Michnia.
Oh.
Yeah, but have a look. The whole point of this is that he's now trying to draw a splitty splitter.
The splitter, yeah.
And Bakshe, in the meantime, is covering up his field at the top of some curves. Michnia now probably has to go over here, because there's still a starting tile to finish the side of his city. Yeah, there we go. Now this is blocked. This farmer is trapped also with 6 points, which is pretty nice for Michnia, because now Bakshe is going to need to invest 1 more meeple for the main field fight.
So maybe going back a bit to Bakshe's indirect defense. That was actually a pretty tough decision to make, because he could have just used the curves pointing upwards, preventing this this exact idea that Michnia went for, and also that would expand the field. This is a bit, I don't know, hindsight is 2020, but I think that was a move worth spending some time on, studying which probabilities worked out the best.
Yeah, maybe like a full 2 minutes or something, because you really go through, you just go through every tile that fits into the respective squares. But then again, Guillermo, that was your idea. All Bakshe was doing, he was just listening to your advice.
The idea was sound in theory, and just practically it crumbled, but
I mean, just because the idea didn't work doesn't mean that it's bad. Also, it's not necessarily didn't work, because there's still one extender tile that Bakshe could draw to connect all the cities.
Actually, there was an extender tile, but Michnia drew it.
Okay, so that was just the splitter.
Left, so
now Bakshe needs to get the splitter, because like, or at the very least, you know what Bakshe needs to do soon enough? Drop a farmer here ASAP.
A farmer, yeah.
Like, this is a crucial square to fill as soon as possible to try to connect to Michnia's field if the catastrophic events of the splitter happens. In the meantime, Michnia just keeps dropping more fields. Sure, he has meeples. Why not necessarily do that? Do we go here as Michnia? Do we need to ensure our main field, or is that just wasteful in terms of meeples? Because I feel like maybe we can still win even if we don't get our setup idea. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one because Pakshe still has the lead on the scoreboard plus the monastery lead.
Ah, but a bit of
Pakshe
an...
now surely will go there, so
He
yeah.
goes there. Oh, but Michnia with a starting tile! What a pull!
Okay.
What a pull! This is huge. It has
Amazing.
gigantic implications for... Because he's going to have a meeple. He's going to even meeple this city. Do it. Yeah, there we go. He can even get this road. There's even a field invasion platform on the left. Pakshe gets the splitter, but do you... Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't invade there. You just...
Yeah, it worked out for Michnia actually, not Mipling, because now Pakshe is not great position. Got the 3-point farmer, but
Ah, but the 3-point
can still
farmer can
connect to the
travel
field,
over
though.
here.
yeah, you can still travel there.
Although it's kind of easily preventable. All Michnia needs to do is something, draw one of the, maybe the last remaining road Dorito and block the square, taking advantage of the fact that no starting tiles are remaining. So this square is pretty vulnerable. And also, even if Pakshe gets something like a straight line, I believe there are no crossroads remaining, so then this square could be easily blocked. I don't know. Pakshe now in a bit of a pickle. Because Michnia only 4 points behind. Now, Red has, of course, all these extra monasteries for 24 points, for 23 points rather, in this cluster. But the bigger fields for Green and the extra meeples to work with and the road and the city threats could probably be enough to compensate all that.
Yeah, I think Pakshe still had, but like for less than 10 points, I estimate. So tough decision for Pakshe now. He has a great tile, but doesn't have a field where he can drop it, doesn't have an easy city to claim. Are there enough caps to like just start a city? Maybe.
Like just all the way at the top. Yeah, that's one option.
Just somewhere.
It's a slow move, but there are plenty enough city caps that, you know, you would get your 4 points and everything.
Yeah, and Pakshe is ahead, so maybe slow is the way to go.
Another alternative that I would be thinking here is just trying to just drop the divider here and hoping that Michnia takes one, you take the other, we kind of clean up, create a secondary field. And the reason why I would be more inclined to just drop city caps elsewhere as opposed to claiming them is because Michnia already has a place to use city caps over here. And if we just create this distraction, our opponent might be forced to not develop their city on the left. And I feel like if Green finishes the city on the left for 10 points and another farmer, and that's going to be too much for Red to deal with.
I agree. Yeah, that's not idea actually. And Pakshe heard you.
Goes for it. So as Michnia,
Let's see if...
do you start cleaning off the city caps, or do you try and create the threat of completing your city?
I think the threat of completing the city is more impactful.
Yeah, that's so annoying to deal with.
Because now Pakshe, yeah. Oh,
Pakshe doesn't care.
Doesn't even bother.
Pakshe wants to munch on the points. Yeah, because Michnia doesn't get a tile. This is a high variance approach from both of the players. And now Michnia, I guess, wishes he would have meepled that city cap. Although there are still several, right? There's a dagger. And there
is a vanilla,
There is a vanilla. No splitters of any kind, though. That is... Only 2 city caps, actually. That's... Nah. Ay, 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 ay. It looks like the good fortune is turning away from Michnia, because the problem is, if we just continue our road, which is the natural move, then Pakshe can just get a curve and go here, and block 2 meeples at once, because the dagger that we need is in fact the right-handed dagger. But he does this anyway, and I kind of like this regardless, simply because if Paksha does block this meeple, it's still not the end of the world, because we can clean off this other city cap. What would be devastating is if red draws both remaining city caps. But red doesn't. Red tries to connect
Red's
to the
attacking
main
the field.
And what do we do? That's the question now. What do we do? So do we finish our city and drop off? It's just too many points, I guess. But then give a chance for Paksha to connect to the field, which would also be kind of devastating. But Paksha does not.
Doesn't get it.
Kirillo was saying that cleaning off the city cap was the right answer. Well, do you think so now? After Michnia has gotten himself the extra farmer and the scoreboard lead? Maybe that was still the correct answer, but whatevs.
Maybe.
Michniak does not get a blocking tile. There's still a curve. There's one curve and one road Dorito that fits here, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, nothing really to block. Michnia takes a ruin. Paksha can now protect towards a 50-50. That's pretty interesting. Or he can claim a 6-point field right here. Man, this is such a fascinating endgame.
Yeah. And there is still a roaded monastery, and like there is a 7-point spite 8 for Paksha.
Oh!
Next to his monasteries.
But if Paksha connects here, then Michne can get to Road Monastery here and gain a ginormous field.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, I feel like we're just flipping for the Road Monastery at this point. Because if Paksha gets it here for just a bit too many points to come back, because this is going to be a 30-something point cluster. But if Michne gets it, he just goes here. And then this farmer ain't no mean nothing.
Yeah. But how ahead is Michia now? Because now they're definitely ahead. But by how much?
So let's just assume that the top field is shared, actually, because that will be just a bit easier to count. So Paksha has a 6-point field here, 12-point fields at the bottom for now for Michnia. So 6 extra farming points. 7-point road for Michnia, that's 13. Then the slightly larger city is 8 versus 4, so that's plus 4, so that's plus 17. And Paksha has 3 monasteries for 23, so if the fields are united, Michnia is going to be down by 6 points. But if the fields aren't united, then Michnia is going to have a 9-point advantage on this field. And Michnia is going to be up for 3 points. And if Paksha... Oh, wait. Michnia has a 5-point ruin here. So Michnia is up by 1, even if the fields are united. Oh, this looks bad for Thailand.
Yeah. Because even if Paksha connects, there is still the road monastery. So maybe Paksha really needs a road monastery. And the connection.
He needs the connection and the road monastery, yeah. So it's like, which critical toss do you go for? Because you could go here, and you could protect it towards the regular curve. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, wait. 8? Yeah, 8. So, so 1 curve remaining. But then the chances of us drawing this and this is 20% at this point. So is 20% good enough? And also, do we necessarily win if we get that combo? Because I feel like... So Michnia probably going to... So if we get the curve, then Michnia could get the other curve and go here for an 8-point road. Not the curve, but the curvy tile. The road Dorito, right?
Dorito. Yeah.
So Paksha can go here for an 8-point monastery. And Michnia is still going to be down by 1. But Michnia can go here to develop his city a little bit. But Paksha can go here to gain 2 more points by uniting Michnia's field at the bottom. Man, this is a fascinating endgame. And this is why Paksha has so little time on the clock. But the curve is drawn and Michnia is going to prevail. I think. Yeah. Sure.
They should. Without that
well,
connect.
that's a bit of an anticlimactic block, which was no longer necessary, I believe. Paksha takes himself the points. Michnia, with a straight line, is going to claim a new 6-point field, which appears to be correct. A Rhodes Dori total for Paksha is not going to even be good enough to start the field attack and hope for the road monastery. So I guess the best thing that we can do is go here. Yeah, exactly. Pre-build the road monastery. And he's going to get it. Michnia is going to continue his city. Although I guess a slight imprecision from Paksha, he needed to drop a farmer and connect to the 9-point field instead. So a 1-point mistake for Paksha.
1 point.
But it's very difficult to see. You typically want to just do this. And bam! Still, a very interesting decision, and I probably... Oh, wait. What was that move by Paksha? Oh, I guess Paksha didn't want to... Yeah. Oh, no, this block makes sense. This block makes all the sense in the world, of course. I assumed that Paksha was going to go here to protect towards the curve, which he didn't. But since there was one curvy tile out there, then Michnia's block makes all the sense in the world. And... unbelievable comeback, just stunning. Guillermo, do you remember how bad the opening position looked with 3 monasteries for Paksha and the scoreboard lead?
Yeah, that looked quite dim. But then Michian did what they had to do, which was to block the monasteries, threaten something big on the top. They developed a nice field. They got their meeples out where they needed them, and then Paksha couldn't connect to the field because it was so restricted.
Yeah, and it's also sort of backfired with the top guy, right? Because he sort of built around it to prevent Michnia from invading, but then...
and they built with Doritos, so the field was literally closed by Paksha himself.
And then Michnia just ended up and grabbed this 8-point ruin to outscore this farmer as well, so... really just Red lost every single mini battle possible. But another interesting thing, I think, was this impatient move over here, because really you want to wait. You want to wait for that Dorito to score the 6 points if you can, and then fully block the square. Now, hindsight, of course, is 20/20, but lovely. I really like positions where like field geometry matters a lot, and yeah. Just fantastic from the Romanian captain, keeping Romanian hopes alive. How we're doing on the scoreboard right now? Well, 2 Thailand, 1 Romania, as Girapa defeated Liztech. Now Michnia defeated Paksha, so everything's going to be decided between Mars 15 and Chowin, where the 2019 world champion is surely the more experienced player. And are they still playing the decider? No, they aren't. They must have finished. And who won? Yeah.
Mars won.
Mars won with like a 30-point difference. Unbelievable. What a comeback from Romania. And so I spent half an hour practicing Thailand's national anthem for nothing. Well, not for nothing. I'm pretty sure it will be needed at some point. They have an incredibly strong team.
Yeah, surely.
Now, Romania wins Thailand. And that's a huge deal for their playoff chances. Huge congratulations for Team Romania. Still, Thailand with a decent tiebreaker. I'm pretty sure they're still more than likely to qualify. Before we jump into the discussions of tournament tables and stuff, first thing in order, congratulations to the Romanian team for this huge comeback win. All rise for the national anthem of Romania. Congratulations again to Team Romania. And
Congratulations.
yeah, time again to wrap up. Let's just discuss a little bit more the implications for the tournament table here. So, Guillermo, this is probably not the outcome that you had hoped for as a member of the Portuguese team, but are there still chances?
I think so, because it was a close game. So Romania didn't get many more duels won. So what this means for Portugal is we need to win big. I think that's just it. We need to actually win big.
So let's see here. So Thailand and oh wait, not Ukraine. So Thailand and Romania are now sharing first place in the group. I mean, Thailand's still ahead because they didn't lose much of the tiebreakers, so they should be now at +4 in terms of duels won. And Romania now is even money on duels won, so 10-10, because 3-2 is the final score. Let's say if Portugal wins against Lithuania tomorrow, and let's say if Portugal wins big, and who are you still playing against? Are you still playing against Romania, no?
Romania. Yeah.
So then really everything's going to be decided in that match against Romania. Yeah, because you need to win big, actually, because you need to, either if you win big, if you win 4-1 against Lithuania, then any win against Romania is going to do it for you, right?
Yeah, because we'll be tied previously, yeah.
Yeah, so Romania is even money. If Portugal wins 4-1 against Lithuania, which is honestly not that easy because Mujacello and Ludiselis are likely to be favorites on many tables, although obviously, you have Glovir, you have João Margarido. I'm pretty sure you're going to do just fine, and probably in terms of the lineup, she actually wants to catch Lithuania's, like one of the two Lithuanians leaders against one of your two leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then maybe you can win 4-1. And then in that case, you don't even need a big win against Romania, you just win just to win. Romania obviously will probably need to win against Portugal, or if Portugal doesn't win against Lithuania or does not win big enough, then Romania can even afford a loss as long as the loss is not too devastating. Now, where Ukraine comes in, Ukraine's going to play against Mexico tonight, and this one we're also going to cover with you in a couple of hours. So, does the same hold true? Now, if Mexico wins against Ukraine, do your chances improve because now there are more teams fighting for second place, or do they not improve because Mexico will be up in the running if they do defeat Ukraine today? And if they defeat Ukraine, they might even have a better tiebreaker than Romania.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I think we still need, for us, Mexico to win, but like just barely, so 3-2, no more than that. But then we do need Mexico to lose, because I mean, if Ukraine wins, Ukraine will have, they already have a massive tiebreaker, right? So I don't really think it's feasible for us to surprise Ukraine on tiebreaker. So yeah, I think we need still Mexico to win. I'm not quite sure, but if we need them to win, it's always barely. Just because Ukraine is a big tiebreaker in games. So even if we tie in duels, because we don't even know if we tie in duels, it's just a massive lead.
There's another question. Thailand, is there a chance that Thailand doesn't qualify? Like if they lose to Mexico 5-0 or something and the tiebreaker goes to -1?
Well, maybe, because they lost today, but it would have to be a massive loss for that to happen. But I mean, as like we said at the beginning, the group is so tightly packed at the top, especially now that Romania prevailed against Thailand. Now it's everything so much together because there isn't a undefeated team. So the top is quite tightly packed, and it really comes down to this and the next rounds of games. So it's a fun group to watch, not so fun to play in.
It's so fun to play it, yeah. Kind of the opposite of the group in which we are, although we made it much more fun to watch after losing 5-0 to Croatia and then trying to climb back, but more about on that story in another stream. I also wanted to ask you this because the tournament format is not entirely clear to me. Now, they are these groups A to G, so what? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's 7 groups. Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Yes, that's 7 groups. Like I had to do the alphabet song to actually count. Anyway, so 7 groups, and the top 2 teams qualify for most, but the top 3 teams qualify from some. Do you know much about the criteria, or like which groups are going to have 3 teams that qualify from them?
I actually don't really know. I haven't taken a close look at that criteria yet, especially because given our current standing, I don't think we are in a good position to fight for that, but maybe that's something I need to take a look at.
Yeah, because the question is the 3rd spot even going to be enough from Group C? Because, we're just assuming that we're fighting for 3rd.
Yeah. I haven't really taken a look at that. I'm just in the mode, but we need to fight for 2nd. I don't think 3rd's going to cut it for us. So I really haven't paid attention to those tiebreakers. But I imagine that in some groups that's going to play a huge role.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure most of my viewers are way, way more educated about this than I am. But I remember reading this tiebreaker and it sort of seemed kind of fair. So I would expect that from C group, where they have a lot of more competition, more teams will in fact qualify. It might be Group C and Group A maybe, but although, I mean, Group B also does seem like, yeah, actually, I don't know, Guillermo. It's there are some tight situations in some other groups as well. So
yeah, so maybe
you better try and play really, really well tomorrow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, also interesting. Yeah, so there's going to be a tiebreaker, which Elias is mentioning in the chat. They're going to count your performances against your top 4 opponents. Yeah, so actually, if you win big against Lithuania, which is not guaranteed as well, but
not guaranteed, and
this is not even that good for the tiebreakers.
Yeah, for the tiebreaker for the 3rd overall, but we still needed to fight for 2nd, I think. Yeah, because of that, being that the case, we really need to fight for 2nd, I feel like.
There's also one other scenario for Portugal, which is a bit far-fetched but doable. So let's say you win against Lithuania. You win big against Lithuania, but then Mexico loses big against Ukraine, and then Ukraine loses big against Lithuania, putting Mexico as the last team in the group. And then
so that
so that your tiebreaker against Lithuania matters more.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if I can dream, maybe everyone disconnects and we win 5-0, and wow, you're just.
I think everybody would need this. Would disconnect or not show up for that to happen. And also, just to remind you all, like I've seen the lineups and they're pretty interesting. And Mexico has some genuine chances. I think the lineups are good for them. But Ukraine, rating-wise, they're the favorite against every single team in this tournament. So
yeah, the lineups are strong, but we can never discount Ukraine.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Anyway, that should be enough for now because we gotta take a break. But we're going to see y'all back in exactly 90 minutes for our final match of the evening together with my. Wait, is that 90 minutes? I'm getting paranoid. Can we just look at the calendar real quick? Ukraine versus 1800 UTC. Yeah, so that's in
Yeah,
89
90
minutes from
minutes.
now. We're going to do a little match preview. So, go grab beverages and food. Also, in case you're here for the first time, make sure to subscribe for more competitive Carcassonne content like this, and also meeple the like button for the algorithm. And also, if you enjoy this video very, very much, then consider using the super thanks function, which I have recently enabled. So that's it. Thank you so much, Guillermo, for being here. Still one more to go.
One more to go. Thanks for having me. And thanks for having me in the future, I guess.
In the very, very near future. All right. And thank you all so much for watching, and I'm going to see you soon.
Bye.